To my audience, hope you've been enjoying this content. If you have, and you're just joining us, you can't see me on screen right now, so don't look for a moving mouth. But if you are just joining us, hit that follow button. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. I do this all the time. Do this 7 days a week. Look, I'm handsome. I'm more beautiful than anyone here. Okay, all right. So I'm not on screen. All right. So,
Lattice teeth woman.
!point social for all our social media. We got Twitter where we tweet things and it's amazing, right? Tweet the stuff. Discord, where we do everything, right? Including this conversation, all our conversations. Join us on Discord. Join our Discord channel. TikTok is where you'll find funny videos from this channel. And of course, YouTube is trying to find the VODs, all right? So like, comment, and subscribe. And consider becoming a YouTube member, hitting that join button. Okay, thank you so much. Now we are going to go to our next topic, guys. If you could be so kind as to keep your opening short, so we could jump into it faster. All right. And I mean, just before I do this, right? I'll just say that my man GSU, Gambit, and Fnatic, they lucked out. They lucked out. I mean, I've been seeing them. I saw the looks in their faces. They were thanking their lucky stars that Prime is not involved in this conversation. They're like, oh, the beating I would have received. Look, it's okay.
You
right?
know one thing, Prime. One small thing. I see why like people call people out when they can't be on stream and shit. This shit is amazing. Like I could just talk junk and you can't say it. This is amazing. I see why people do that, though. That's
all right. You got me there. Hey, thank you, B. Dander, for the 5 hot tier 1 gift subs to the channel. Thank you for that kind of support. B. Dander has been a great supporter of this community. Get to $20 just to start things off previously. Thank you, B. Dander, for the kind 5 subs. You've been a real one, B. Dander. You can't see my face, but it is smiling, right? Filled with awe and wonder for you. So thanks so much for the constant support. Okay, back to this. So, topic. A 63-year-old Christian bishop married an 18-year-old member of his congregation. The two reportedly met when she was 14 and he was performing marriage counseling for her parents. She was then a student in his church school. Is this unethical? Should this be somehow illegal? And if so, do you think there could possibly be a similar situation where this could be ethical? Okay. And Desperado Sensei, thank you for gifting a sub as well. Awfully kind of you. Thank you. Big support. We're almost to a hype train. Subs to channel, give bits or give subs. Okay. But yeah, so this was a moment. I'm gonna put there's 2 links. I think I only sent one of the links this week, but there's 2 videos. One of them was on Instagram. I'm not sure you guys saw that one. I sent that one last week. Waterkai, thank you for gifting a sub. Hey. And I'll put the other one in here in the Twitch chat, and I'm going to put it in the group chat for you guys in case you didn't see that this Instagram video. But in any case, yeah, this individual, she is a bishop within a church, and yes, he is 63, and he married this woman, and she's pregnant, as I understand it. She's pregnant, and the question is, like, is it acceptable? He knew her beforehand. He literally taught her within school, and he did marriage counseling, so he was like deeply involved with his family. Is this okay? All right. What's okay is when Home and Smooth read subs for 6 months. Thank you, Smooth. And then Naritas gives 400 bits. All right. And then we are at level 2 hype train, 35% done, or 65% left. Can we get to a level 3 hype train? Thank you so much for the kind support, everyone. Bam. Remember, try to keep your intros kind of short. Thank you.
Right. The first half, I need all my peace and positivity, but now we're going with Black Force energy for the second round. No, actually, like I think that there were like 17 points of 17 issues and like conflicts of interest in like their relationship dynamic that we can absolutely call this unhealthy and definitely grooming. I think that they're, yeah, I think that's just pretty much it. This is really bad.
Okay, like.
Oh,
after
but
all
wait,
that-
I'm sorry. I remembered. I'm sorry. I really am getting higher by a second. I'm sorry. I remember my second part. I'm really losing it. There's
You are.
issues.
I agree.
Yeah. There's like all relationships have power imbalances. So like we're not obviously not looking for a perfect scenario, but like I said, there's just too many power imbalances in this relationship. That's it.
Okay, thanks so much. Thank you, Reformed Chatter, for resubbing for 16 months. We are at a low 2 hype train, 48% down, 52% left. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Can we get to a level 3 hype train? Guys, support this channel, support this community. Usually Amazon Prime says Prime Gaming on this channel. Right now, you're 1 free sub per month. Use that here and support what we're trying to build. We have 2.5 minutes on the clock. Can we get to a level 3 hype train? Support this community. We always really need it. If you like this content we're doing here, then help us out. All right, Sly.
Yeah, this was a really weird one. I definitely think definitely unethical. Like Bam said, there's a whole, like, especially the conversation about him counseling the parents. I think that, like, there's levels there the levels of grooming or potential grooming there that it's way beyond what you can call ethical. I think maybe this even would have a chance to be illegal, possibly, if we could probably make it, because of how many breaches there are with his interaction with the parents of the person he married before she was even legal. So yeah,
okay.
That's where I stand with this.
Thanks so much. Hey guys, less than 90 seconds up on the clock. Save the hype train if you can. Sub to the channel, give bits or give subs if you're liking this content. Help us out. Let's get to that level 3 hype train. Let's go to Kai, please.
I'm going to go ahead and say God's cool with it. I'm not. And he's a grooming piece of shit.
Okay, well, sure and sweet. All right, again, less than a minute left on this hype train. Can we make it to a level 3 hype train? Let's go to Dream.
I say it is unethical if she was groomed. The likelihood of being groomed is probably really high. So this case, it is probably unethical. But there is a possible world where it isn't unethical. And if it's this person, this 18-year-old woman, meaningfully consented to this relationship. And when people say that there's a power imbalance, it doesn't mean that the person with the power imbalance is exuding it. You could just have the potential for a power imbalance and be like, okay, I don't have this power. You know, with great power comes great responsibility, so they're not going to exude it in an abusive manner. So just because there is a power imbalance in a relationship doesn't mean it's wrong to have. And so, yeah, I don't think we should make a law that says two consenting adults shouldn't have a consensual relationship. So whether or not this relationship is consensual is the contentious thing that we're talking about, like grooming. Somebody's being groomed, that's not meaningfully consented relationship. So that's why it's probably unethical, because she's probably groomed.
Okay, thanks so much. Let's go to Smooth.
All right, look, dude is a sick bastard. All right, that's what I got to say. He's sick. She went to his school. The family had been a part of the church for a really long time. This dude is sick. Okay, he literally waited till she was legal. He's R. Kelly without the music, basically. I'm done.
And Kevin Spacey he meets.
What if she waited till she was 18? Would that change your answer?
No.
Okay, we'll get to Peace.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit harsh to call him R. Kelly, but that's not too far off the mark. But before hearing about that she was 14, I was a little bit on the line where if this was just a random 19-year-old meeting a 63-year-old, I probably wouldn't have a problem with that, because at that age you can make your own decisions. But the fact that the kid was 14, it really, to me, it's a problem with this individual, but it's also a problem with her parents too, because there's no way that this would have been allowable if the parents hadn't they had to have known something. A 14-year-old being all buddy with the pastor, and then they get married after she graduates high school. It's just something's wrong with that picture, and it's a poor example for Christianity.
I'm gonna tell you what happened when we're done with openings, Pace.
Okay. Let's go to Jade, please.
I also think it's unethical she was groomed. It's really weird, even though she was 18 at the time, and I know Dream said, what if she waited till she was 18? But I don't believe that an 18-year-old was attracted to 16. I don't know. I'm not her, so I guess I can't assume, but I think it's just a weird situation.
Okay. Gambit.
Yeah, first off, I want to shout out to the people that donate to Prime. Y'all are awesome people, and appreciate y'all for giving Prime a hype train. Hopefully, Paul is able to help out next time. But when it comes to this topic, like I'm definitely a person that understands when people seem to be using their power to get more and more out of women, and I think that's unethical. So I don't really like what happened. I would think if their age was maybe closer or something, I probably wouldn't care if pastor was talking to somebody's congregation that they was like much older or close to the same age. I probably would feel a little bit different. It still would be a little weird, but with this is just clear cut disgusting. I think, had he been a politician, some of our panelists might be more okay with it, but yeah, I think this is really bad.
Thank you, always learning for subbing with your Prime Gaming. Really, really kind of you. Thank you so much for becoming a new subscriber. Thank you. Okay, let's go to Fanatic, please.
Yeah, this is giving me OD Roy Moore vibes. And I think like there's the thing is, we always talk about like when you get to a certain level of success, there's this fear of not being able to know if a person is with you because of your money or not, right? Or because of something that you have, some resources that you have or not. I think there's no way that this pastor should ever be in any position where he's not considering in his mind, this is a person that's that there's a potential for me to be abusive, even if I'm, to the best of my knowledge, not doing so. There's no way that she's going to feel the sense of agency required in order for her to be her own adult and be able to make her own decisions. She's going to feel incredibly whatever. And he would probably never engage in a situation like that where he felt like he was like having to be taken advantage of, right? So in this situation, because of the fact that he's able to take advantage of another person, he doesn't seem like there's a problem with it. I think as a person who's been in church almost my entire life, I'm more than aware of like the imbalance and the esteem that you give towards a pastor, and there's no way that this little girl didn't do that, and it just seems absolutely inappropriate. Just another exploitative, fake church.
Okay, all right.
So
go ahead, open to the panel.
So Pace, here's what happened. Okay, she was like, Pastor, I'm going through some stuff in my life. Stuff is bad. My parents just got a divorce. Their marriage is rocky. Can you help me out? Can you pray with me or whatever? Them prayer sessions turned into them talking about other things, and other things led to other things. And I don't even think he waited till she was really 18. I really don't. Like, you don't establish rapport enough. You don't establish rapport to get married overnight.
That's sort of what my head was going to, because at the end of the day, a 14-year-old, particularly young women, their emotional maturity rates at 14 are all over the place, and more so than young men. Our emotional period goes out of whack in our mid-20s. But there's absolutely no scenario in my mind or I can think of where somebody that's 63 years old and somebody that's 14 or now 19 can just make the decision to marry somebody of that huge age gap directly out of high school. And I was struggling with it, but since you added some more clarity onto it for me, yeah, it's predatory behavior, and it goes to show some of the problems that we have in Christianity, well, in any religion really, but mostly since I'm a Christian, in Christianity, where we want to encourage young people to become part of our religion. We want to encourage people to participate and come back in and give the church a chance. But when you have the popes out there raping young boys, and you have things like this happening, it puts an awful disdain on the public image of the religion.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like, we understand what representation is, some of us, and we don't want bad representation of Christianity. So,
Jeez.
like,
You're going back to
just
the old
like
argument.
just like we
Yeah.
wouldn't want, like,
For fuck's sake.
I'm just being like, nobody would support this, right? But just like we wouldn't want like a black
Don't say no
politician
one.
twerking to get votes, we wouldn't want somebody who has the power of a pastor to be grooming young people in their audience. So yeah, I think that's a good point. That's why we
How
kind
is
of
this? How is
care
this not in
about
line
who
with Christian
who's
values?
representing us. Huh?
There's no
Can you
age.
explain how you think this is Christian values? This would be good. Oh God.
In Christian values, it's fine for a man to rape a woman and then pay her father 50 shekels to keep her.
That's not true.
Okay.
I don't want
That's-
to.
I don't even know where that
That's
is.
not
Where,
even-
where,
Okay.
where in the Bible is
There's
that?
no what
All right.
Bible?
So,
Deuteronomy
I'm-
22, 28, and 29.
See, there's
You
there's
talking about the
problem
Old Testament again?
That's the problem that
Okay.
you have. The Old Testament, for example, and Paul writes to Timothy. Timothy. No, Romans chapter 15, that the Old Testament, while it has not been abolished when Jesus came down here, the Old Testament, as he writes to Timothy, it was used for our understanding so that we don't repeat those same mistakes. The laws and stuff that they made in Deuteronomy and Leviticus, and you can see in Leviticus, they talk about a whole slew of things that they consider to be immoral. That's why we get I think anybody would agree that bestiality is immoral, but that's where we get the idea that that's immoral. That's where we get the idea of Sodom.
Clearly, we don't all agree on
being
that. Y'all remember the first
immoral.
conversation?
Okay,
Well,
yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know about that, bro.
I'm not looking to make this a religious conversation now. I just kind of want to focus. I mean, we could. I'll go down that route.
I mean,
with
it's a
one of you
pastor.
guys later on.
We don't
I'm
believe
saying
you.
it's a pastor.
Yeah, no,
I-
fair enough. But I kind of want to focus in because I think there's a lot of interesting things. So we all of you had like a similar opening here, but I think like that's why I asked that question last, saying that, hey, like, is there a scenario where this might be okay? All right, so I
No.
kind of want to narrow down
Yes.
as to what part of this do we know is moral. So we don't know, right, for a fact that this person like touched the younger individual, right, this female, or forced her into anything or whatever, right? All we know is that they had known each other previously when she was under 18, and now that she's over 18, that they married, right? So if an individual knows someone, right, when they are younger, right? Let's say, okay, what about like a father, right, who is divorced, and he marries one of his daughter's friends, right? She becomes a adult at some point, and he marries her. Like, is that immoral?
How
No.
old is he?
Not necessarily, unless he groomed her from the point of when he
Yeah.
first started meeting her.
I think even if it doesn't necessarily, like, even if we can't find something
It's suspicious, for sure.
necessarily like bad, I think that if you cross enough like social boundaries, like that many, it ought to be so publicly shamed, because it would be impossible to prove otherwise. Like, just just being older isn't the issue. Just being her pastor isn't the issue. Just being her parents' marriage counselor isn't the issue. Like, but if you have all three of these things, like it's crossing a barrier that's like, okay, we ought to
It's a
like publicly
trifecta.
change this. Yeah, we ought to publicly change this type of
I don't think. Hold on. I think the issue you're talking about is like in that environment where he did it is probably gonna, like, a lot of conflict is gonna arise, and people are feeling probably disgusted, and so he probably shouldn't do that for those reasons. But I don't think you're making an objective moral.
I don't think it's necessarily about the environment. What the problem here is that there is no way in hell that you can develop a relationship that quickly between the ages of 18 to get married at 19 and not have done so previously while she was underage. It's just not possible to
It
build
is
a relationship
possible.
that quickly.
It's just very unlikely. It's possible.
Well,
It's
people get married over like
A month.
like a weekend in Vegas, right? So people make bad ideas, right? Like or bad decisions.
Yeah, but the thing is those people, when they make those poor decisions, most of those people are running off with their high school sweethearts. They're running off with somebody that they
No.
knew.
No, it's just
they
some
knew
chick
Not
she
what
for
met
he
at a
said.
slot
Listen to what he
machine.
said, bro.
I haven't finished talking, but what they're running off with some person that they just had a one night stand with, they've known for like 2 weeks, and you see those cases on divorce court all the time where they got married after 2 weeks and they wonder why the relationship didn't work because they didn't know
Or
anything about each other. In this particular case, we have all of the tangential evidence to show that they've had some form of relationship that has developed from the time that she was 14 to now, and to get her to make that type of decision. And there's just no way in hell that you aren't in that close proximity with your pastor to not have developed that type of relationship beforehand. It's just
And not
not
just
possible.
her, and it's not just her. It's not just a relationship with her when she was underage. Like this person had a relationship with the parents and played a major role of counseling her parents. Like that is a major role in that household. Like the levels of the power dynamics here are way too high here. That I agree with Fanatic that he, like, someone like this should know or would know better in a position like that.
So what's
Not
the
that.
strongest argument in favor? Like I was keeping up, but like who's got the strongest argument justifying it?
I think the strongest argument is, I think I've laid it out in my opening, is that the likelihood of this being grooming is very high, so it's probably immoral. But in the possible world where it isn't grooming and she's meaningfully consenting to this relationship, and he's not abusing his power that he does have, it is an power balance. But just because you have the power doesn't mean you are currently abusing it. In that very specific scenario, where it's very unlikely for it to happen, that's the strongest argument.
I think it's one of those things. This is one of those things where it's like we can argue, we can talk around in circles around it all day, but in reality, it boils down to the fact that like you can't know for sure one way or the other. And I think we all recognize that there's plenty of situations where it becomes incredibly arbitrary, and anyone trying to argue otherwise is like absolutely nuts, right? Like we don't know whether or not he's abusing anything. Like it just seems like this is something that there's so much potential for, so we're responding to it. But the whole point is it's arbitrary as hell, right? Because like we can say, all right, 18 and 60 is problematic. It seems like it's a dangerous thing, right? But then it's like, okay, well, where does that line stop? At what point do we finally say, it's maybe at 25, is it okay? At 30, is it okay? And no matter what number you end at, it's going to be something arbitrary. You can't. There's no solid like objective point to prove here. So I would say that it's something that should be avoided, specifically because it's just like, there's again, there's so much potential for abuse here that it seems like this is something that you'd want to avoid. It's almost impossible to control for. There's no way we're going to be able to know one way or the other. So it's just like, but rather than risk this, we should probably just assume that there's a power imbalance. In fact, I would say it's almost impossible for there not to be a power imbalance. One, because of like all of these things working concomitantly, right? Like one, the influence that he has over their parents. So she already had to look up to this person. Two, just literally the fact that he's her pastor automatically creates a power imbalance. It's unavoidable, right? So then you got age difference, you have position difference, you have the fact that he's had this role with her parents. It seemed all of those things together, like they seem like that those things would create an almost irrevocable power imbalance. Is there some universe where it's possible? Sure. Is it even remotely close to likely? No, not really. So it seems like something that should be avoided.
I don't think anyone was saying that there isn't a power imbalance. I think it's pretty obvious it's power imbalance. But like I said, just because you have the power imbalance doesn't mean you're using the power for bad. So,
do you know the tag on the
wait, power for bad?
Just before, so
what does that mean?
Everybody, everyone agrees to exactly what he says. But that's not the argument. You understand? You said something different, right?
What?
What you said was different than what Fanatic explained to you.
Fanatic explained it.
Fanatic said we should avoid it.
We're not
with the idea of it being theoretical.
I agree. I'm saying me and Fanatic aren't contradicting each other, and I was just emphasizing that no one disagrees with Fanatic. That's all I said.
Oh, okay.
To tag on to what Fanatic was saying, about the imbalance here, I know from personal experience when at the churches, a lot of these young women, a lot of the older women in the churches, they develop an unusual attraction or idolization of their pastor. And that is very dangerous in this case. It's almost like the pastor is preying upon that emotional connection that the young lady has made him out to be, especially in the circumstance with her broken family, where he comes in and he seems to fill all of the voids that her broken family has done to shatter her emotional stability. And that level of attraction and idolization that we give our pastors, particularly young women, that we give our pastors, it leads to these scenarios where these pastors can take advantage of young people, of women in general. And then even in some of those pastors where they're undercover, down low, and they have developed these relationships of young gay men or young gay women, and you see the exact same things, where it's because of the attraction, it's because of the relationship, of how they made the person feel, especially because one of the pastor's jobs is to comfort you when you're in a time of depression, in a dark place. We go to them to seek counsel. We go to them to seek comfort, and they can prey upon that very badly. And I think, I hate to use Family Guy as an example, but I remember one of the episodes where uh, Adam West was talking with the Pope on the other side of the chamber, and it was they were getting them to do crazy shit inside the confessional booth. And that's, it's a very a hyperbole, but it's not too far off to say that some pastors will abuse their connection to their members that way.
I just wanted to say I had to go. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a good
Thanks for
one.
being
Thank you
here.
so much.
Thanks for being
Yep.
here, babe.
Bye. Are we all supposed to say I love you too? Dream?
Yeah,
I
you
wasn't
can say that. That's fine.
Okay.
Oh, who's it?
I think we're all pretty much in agreement here. I don't think there's much contention.
Yeah,
Well-
but go ahead. You go first, Fanatic.
Okay, I'm saying I do think we are on agreement. Like basically that it seems like it like it's likely to be imbalanced. I think that the point where I take it a step further is I would say just because of the confluence of all those things together, we should probably just say that this should be absolutely like unacceptable. The thing is, it really does seem like it'd be really impossible to legislate because like there's a great deal of agency that happens when someone becomes 18 years old, right? And we don't want to ever get to the point where we're encroaching on people's freedom, and so then it like leaves this like weird nebulous place, right? Like how do we protect people even from themselves while still trying to give them agency? And I think in these kind of situations, like I don't know that there is any way we can do it. Like we allow 21-year-olds to gamble, right? But then how do we like tell you, hey, you have an addiction and you have to do something about it, right? We can't really. Like we can't ban you from gambling at 21, even if you're like doing it to your own detriment. Same thing with like alcohol consumption. It's like, yeah, it seems like there's a limit. And after a certain level of it, it's like, yeah, it becomes a problem, right? Or maybe like even things like porn addiction. How many wives can you watch get destroyed before you finally say like, okay, no, too much, this is too much. You know what I mean? So there's an agency thing and a freedom thing. And then there's also a limitation thing. I don't know. We as a society have the ability to tell her as an adult, you can't do this.
I
While
agree.
at the same time telling people you can join the military. So I mean, but is there any person that has any ideas of how we should be saying specifically, yo, this has to be stopped? Like there's got to be some limit, right?
I think that you raise a good point, and I think it just goes against the ideals of like free will. With when you have free will, you're just gonna allow for the possibility of people ruining their own lives, right? And the only way you can stop people from ruining their own lives is to influence them not to. You can't really force them not to if they're not really harming others, right? So when we talk about influencing not to, I think the strongest way to do so is like to raise them from a really young age to have really good sense of morality / good sense of common sense to do what's makes the most sense at the point. So like having good parents, and that doesn't have to be biological, it could be your uncle that's a good parent to you, good teachers teach after school program, and a good pastor. Like for example, this instance, the place the place where it could have been prevented was if somebody at that church saw what was going on, was like, "Hey, baby, like, what's going on with you and Pastor Robinson or whatever his name is?" You know, and then that old woman, old man, whoever, be like telling him like, "I don't think you should." You know, that would be how we prevent that thing from happening. Be like, "I think they're maybe not. This relationship might not be the best for you." Or her parents be like, "Yeah, don't talk to him like that. That's insane." Or this is
Well,
how
then
we
I
stop it.
love.
I don't think you can legislate it.
Real
I
quick.
really don't.
So
I
one of
love that
the
you guys got this energy then, because I think we all agree then that the RICO charges that were charged against R. Kelly were inappropriate. While we recognize R. Kelly is a disgusting POS and he's a pedophile and stuff needed to be done to him and he abused God knows how many women, the thing that they actually got R. Kelly for in this scenario were RICO charges because they were saying that he had a sex trafficking ring with 18-year-olds who have like been on the record saying specifically that they were willing to be at his place and catching that dick. So then at the end of the day, it seems like if we recognize there has to be some agency, and I think we all agree, while it seems like it's something that's a little bit, it seems a little bit
I
gross.
don't
It seems,
I
I think,
No.
hold on. While we all agree in this pastor case,
We're not talking about R. Kelly.
hold on. While we all agree, it seems like within this pastor case, we can recognize that there is some sort of thing where we feel uncomfortable with the idea of infringing on other people's freedom and things like that. It seems like in the cases specifically for the RICO charges, where they were 18-year-old women, it's hard for us to come to the conclusion that what R. Kelly was doing there was some sort of trafficking or some sort of like denial of their free will, because we recognize the agency. Now, in the previous cases, like his marriage to Aaliyah, where there was a marriage certificate published that clearly demonstrated whatever, or that little girl that he pissed on, we see that all of these cases that this nigga was an absolute creep, nasty, disgusting pedophile predator, right? And he paid off these people's parents. So I'm not trying to say or exonerate R. Kelly. In general, we all know socially this nigga is a disgusting creep and he should be thrown into the jail along with Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein and all those other white predators. But what I'm saying is we shouldn't be able to give him RICO charges with the 18-year-olds.
The only thing that I could come up with as far as like an idea of where you can possibly make this illegal or maybe temporarily stop it is the idea of the therapist and a former patient. From what I understand, that if a therapist wants to marry a former patient, there has to be about 10 to 15 years separation from their last session or with that patient. In this case, it would be
10
something
to
that
15 years?
10 to 15 years.
Oh my
That's
God.
a really good. That's a really
So-
good example.
So that's something that that's something where I would possibly, that would be the first, at least one of the places that I would look to try and legislate and apply that to like a pastor. In a specific case where there's been a pastor who's involved in counseling with a child and the parents, because I think this case is very specific. But outside of that, I don't know where we can like really legislate. But that would be the first place that I would look
Question
at.
for Sly.
No,
Can I ask you a
I would
question
go
for
as
Sly?
far. Huh?
I want to ask
Go-
Sly a question real quick.
Before
Just a
you-
clarification question. Point
Okay,
of clarification.
clarification. Go ahead.
Yeah. Did that hurt? Like, is the conviction like 10 to 15 years if the victim agrees to it, or is like no matter if the victim is okay with the relationship, this 10, 15 years?
There's no victim in this. Don't use that term.
There's no
So
victim.
yeah, I don't know about like the victim thing you're bringing into this, but it's more of a situation where we would have that in law stating that if you do any sort of counseling to a family, that family is protected in such a way of like pursuing a romantic relationship with those people having been your clients. You would have to wait 10 to 15 years if you're
you
a
wait
pastor.
10 to 15. I thought you said
Yeah,
they go
you're waiting 10 to 15 years
Got it.
do that.
By definition, if there's a predator, then there's a victim. And I would say, like again, while we're all working with the idea that we cannot say with 100% certainty that there is some sort of predatory behavior happening and grooming and all of those things. If there was grooming and there was predatory behavior, which I would argue it is likely that both of those things were present, given all of the things that we've already laid out, then I would say that she is a victim in that scenario. Would you disagree? If there was predatory behavior and grooming and he waited until she was 18, would you say that she was a victim?
I would have to accept that she's a victim in this case, but like again, this is like an uphill battle fighting against other people's like morality.
But DeAndre said no. DeAndre, would you agree if there was grooming and predatory behavior and she was 18, given this power imbalance, would she be a victim?
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the example that Sly was given with the in relationships to the therapy and Dreams calling the potential person in that case a victim,
Well,
and
if
that's what
the
I was
reason,
talking about.
well, there would be a victim in that case if we created a system that said basically that obviously, like they would probably need to do some sort of studies. Maybe that's why there's no law being done yet. But there,
Yeah.
if we can say that like a person who is a therapist has some sort of power imbalance that would like give them undue power over
Patient
their
or
clients, right, or
yeah,
patients, then if that's the case, then any person who takes advantage of that thing in order to go ahead and coerce sex out of that person would be absolutely a predator, and that person, the receiving end, would be a victim. Right now, if you had a predator who was like doing some sort of like counseling or therapy with one of their clients, and they started having a sexual relationship with that one, that therapist would lose their license, because that's illegal right now. That person would lose their license because that would be predatory. We would say that that person that got taken advantage of could have been coerced or victimized, right? Because that person has undue influence, right? So I would say, obviously, because of their position of authority. So then in that case, I don't understand why, even in that case that he's talking about, it wouldn't also be a predator. I mean, it wouldn't also be
Yeah.
a predator and victim.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
see,
that, and in addition, what I'm saying wouldn't fix it if we decide to enact this law and he just decides not to be a pastor anymore. They can still do it if he's not like a pastor anymore. We wouldn't stop it even in that case. But go ahead, Pace. I'm
let's
sorry.
Pace. Go ahead, and after that, Smooth.
But see, the issue in that is that for this particular case, we can clearly say that there's in my opinion, there is a likelihood that she's a victim of some type of predatory behavior. At least he's preying upon her emotional state of mind. But when you're talking about the thing with the therapist, it's not so much about power imbalances. It's about the fact that the law is trying to protect them from preying on the emotional state of their mind to make them uh to make them more likely to destroy their relationships, to be with them, or to take it, or in the example that you gave, to take advantage of them in a sexual way, or a way that uh that preys upon them while they're in an unstable mindset. And it's not so much about a power imbalance, it's just about protecting the the rights of the person who is clearly going through some type of psychosis in their mind, in their mindset, and they're not in their right mind. That's why we have that particular thing in place. In relation to what Sly was saying about how do we make this, uh, I don't know that we could make it illegal. I don't think that we should make it illegal. I don't think that we should have a law against it. What I think we should do is we have to stop making it mainstream, making it more acceptable as part of our social culture. When we start to make things like this more socially accepted, socially normal, it loses the stigma of the victim mentality, or the victimization of this particular individual. And that's what the problem is. Given them blowing this up to make it into a huge case like this, it's really poor judgment, in my opinion, because eventually there's going to come some protesters are going to come out there and try to make this normalized. That you should be able to normalize this type of behavior. We've seen this before with some of the uh what were they called, the maps, the minor attracted persons. I think this might actually be qualify as one of those types of things where they
Wait, are you
they
are you are
pro
you are you saying uh, are you saying that we should just, instead of like better, you're saying it's better to shame them rather than create a law
No, I'm not
to
saying
try and
shame.
stop it?
I'm not saying shame them. I'm saying stop making it socially normal. That doesn't mean go
It's
out
not
there
socially
Really
normal.
and
normal at
shame them.
all.
No, all I'm saying is that when we blow these things up, it's I don't want to talk about other topics like what we talk. I don't want to stray off, but when we blow up big news medias and things like this, people who agree with this, they start to go out there and they start to push, and then we start getting legislation that comes in to try to make this stuff normalized. That's what I'm saying, that we should stop making this front and center for those types of people who, let's face it, let's be real, those are the people that have the biggest voice. Even though they're the smallest percentage of our population, those are the people that have the biggest voices when they get out there in fucking Washington, and then they make all this legislation and normalize this crap. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm so confused because I don't understand the people you're talking about who go out to Washington and how they're related to a pastor who's 63 years old,
I
trying
don't know
to
where you
trying to
ended at.
trying to be
Like
predatory towards.
I started on the boat ride with you, and then
Well,
you know what I'm
I don't
saying.
know
Let's
how
not
I don't
talk
know how
about
I can
boats
break.
anymore, please.
I
Let's
don't know
not
how
talk
I
about.
can. I don't know how I can break it down any further. But I'll just make a quick example. Let's say, for instance, uh, I I wanted to oh hell, let's say I wanted to be in a relationship with a doll or something. It's a horrible example, but I'm going to go with it anyway since I've already started it. And people are telling me that this is some type of psychosis. It's mentally unstable behavior on my part, and I'm saying no, and it's getting all this attention, and then somebody comes out and says, "Oh, I support that," and then a whole bunch of other people come out and say, "I support that," and then we go out and we try to get Congress to make this something that is socially normal. And I know it's a horrible example because it's hard to make an example for this, but that that's
You're saying it's
essentially
a slippery
what I'm
slope.
trying to say.
That if this is made acceptable, that eventually
Yeah,
other things
Are you
happen.
exactly.
saying?
No,
Are
but
you
he's
saying
not
if we
saying
allow?
it's a
If
slippery
we
slope.
are
He's
you
saying
saying
it
if
should
we allow?
be
No, no. I think he's saying if we allow it to be legal, then we as a society
no.
are saying it's moral.
No,
It's
That's
okay.
that's
not
not
his
what I'm
No,
saying.
argument. What his
I'm
argument
not
is,
saying
his
that.
argument is, it seems to me, tell me if I'm wrong here, it seems like you're saying that even by criticizing this, then we're opening this up to the public forum, and then you're going to have people defending it,
Exactly.
and then
This
therefore
is
that's going to normalize it. But hold
this
on, by that argument, which you already presented, I think that means that we really wouldn't be able to criticize anything that we're demonizing, that we don't like.
No, I don't think
Well,
that. But what I'm saying is that
you've explained it.
we
Can I
take the
respond?
example
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
of
I feel like I should be able to respond. You went on
let
along, and
Fanatic.
I didn't like strawman you. I did understand your point you're making. I'm saying that I think it's wrong, and the reason why I think that that's wrong is because there's plenty of things that we should be outright and forthright about condemning. Right? Things like pedophilia. I think we should obviously be condemning that. And then you got leftists like Prime, or Prime's friends at least, that like will actually defend, like saying, "Oh, pedophilia is more of a
I don't think
sexual
Prime would
sex."
defend this.
Here we go.
What he'll say is, "Oh, pedophilia is more of a sexual orientation. It's not really like these people aren't monsters and things like that." Him and his friends will say those kind of things, and then that starts to normalize pedophilia.
Jesus.
So I
No,
would say,
no,
like, we should be forthright. We should be 100% outright about condemning all things that we think are awful, and even the things that are like nebulous. We should be able to have cultural conversations about how these things are inappropriate. Because while maybe, I mean, Jesus, we know how much like society has like progressed socially to where we're even having conversations about power imbalances. You got to recognize probably less than 200 years ago, niggas was out here marrying kids, right? So these conversations need to happen. And while you'll still have some people, like those people, like some of the sick leftists that'll make these arguments that children should be able to consent and all this other nonsense, like they'll make those kind of arguments, but we still got to recognize, like, no, we've had these conversations, and the most of sane society all recognize that this stuff is inappropriate.
Okay.
Well, let me
Yes.
let me clean it up a little bit because I didn't want to make this example because I don't want to talk about this topic, but I'm saying it in the same aspects that what we do with these schools, with these school
Jesus
shooters and
Christ.
shit like that, where they want to do this because they see these
That's
other
not the
people do
same.
this,
This
and
is
that's
not
what I'm
Same.
saying. I don't want to make
not
that
even close.
socially normative where people are seeing shit like this and then they
No.
say, well, so they doing
I
it, so we
I
can do it.
understand, right? Like
Well,
serial.
Pause.
hold
So
on,
let Prime
Wait,
respond,
wait.
please.
Oh.
I just said a whole bunch of nonsense about him. Prime, you got it right. Go ahead. What do you got to say about that? Can we
I think Prime just knows you're trolling. He's
Okay.
not.
trolling? He is a leftist. What are you talking about?
But he would.
I'm
He said
just-
he would say, you're not saying.
Fine.
To make it
Ay,
clear,
ay, ay.
I'm just an acquaintance to you. I'm not your friend. I just want to make sure that's clear. I'm just an acquaintance.
Okay. All right. Fanatic.
No.
I
There's no way that's true. No, Prime, don't let me down.
Are you serious, Prime?
See, I told y'all niggas, you can't trust these leftists, bro.
That's why I
my
said
Shut
what I
up,
said.
shut up.
Um,
You're making me
It was
laugh.
on tape.
No. Listen.
Oh.
Impossible.
Listen.
That's why I
You're
said
doing
what I
the
said.
Stranger Things meme.
No, we're not listening.
I guess you proved your
Let me
point,
get my
Fanatic.
point out, and then you
Most
understand my
floors.
point. Well, no,
Dang,
I
Beckman
have
got it.
unironically on this channel many times, right? Shout out to our longtime viewers. Many times made the argument that we should be raising the age of consent to 25, right? To like wait till the brain is actually formed. That like before then, yes, you are worse at making decisions, right? Doesn't start at 18. 18 ain't some sort of magical number. No, you're still as dumb as you are when you're 17, right? And that continues on to 19 and all of that, right? But there's a moment in time when people pass the age of like 25 where the brain makes an advancement and completes, right? And they start reevaluating their life, and they look into their past and like, what the fuck was I doing? So I have many times said, no, we have to raise the age.
Wait.
People push back on me.
But what about the other part? You do think active pedophiles are sick people? It's not a sexual orientation. They should all be thrown in jail,
Why
right?
those? Hold on. Why are those mutually exclusive? You can be both.
Hold on. I'm not saying that they're mutually exclusive. I'm asking them to speak on the second part. Prime, it's not a sexual orientation. Please, bro. I'm begging you. I'm begging you, bro.
Shut up.
I'm begging you, dog.
No, hold on. What I would say when dealing with these individuals is that we cannot that we
I say active pedophiles.
No. Yeah. Okay. All right. So if you're talking about that, that's all right. Let me just lay it out very quickly. Okay. So we want to create an environment that says, well, like, this behavior is not okay, right? We don't want kids to be harmed, but we want to create an environment where people can reach out for help, right? So if you are a person who is, minor attracted, if you're that type of individual, then we want to create a space that you can get like psychological help, get those resources, get that mental help, right? Counseling, help you control your urges, so that they never offend in the first place. Because as we have it now, right, people are feel so stigmatized that they can't reach out, or when they do, they'll find mental resources that reject them, right? So like a mental or psychologists will sometimes not take them as patients. You have a person who is afraid of their own actions at this point, right? So we need to intervene. So we need to create a space where they can access those resources, so you never offend in the first place, because that's the only, at that point, it's already too late. Someone's life is shattered.
But pause right there.
Okay,
Prime,
wait.
in order to do that, But in order to do that, we don't need to label their deprivation or their disgusting behavior, their reprobate behavior. We don't have to label that as a sexual orientation.
I agree.
We can still. Okay, good. So it's not a sexual orientation.
Yeah, I never said that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were clear, because there was a lot of you know how you left this, sorry, bro. I gotta just be 100% clear.
In my mouth. Oh my god.
Wait.
I just looked it up. I just looked it up.
I'm further than
Sexual
Prime on this.
orientation is only about your gender. It has nothing to do about what type.
I don't know. What I will say though, I don't know why. Like, this is. Okay, I do know why. But like, it shouldn't be a fight for this idea of quote unquote sexual orientation, because we're put no, listen to me, right? Before you judge me, right? I don't think
this is a heavy topic.
Oh my god, I don't think that it should be a fight, right? When we have like this label, it's a major thing. I think the reason why it is a fight is because, especially members of the LGBTQ community, right? They have been labeled as child molesters, right, for so many years, and they don't want to be associated.
Especially the ones at the pride parades.
Oh my god, they don't want to be associated with that, right? They don't want to be to say that this minor attracted people are the same as them, right? So I don't give any importance to calling it a sexual orientation. It is a person who is attracted to another type of person, which is inappropriate. This is inappropriate.
Yeah, sick person.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it.
Look,
So like Kevin Spacey is sick.
Sorry.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey is sick as hell. Like,
okay, I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing. That's
okay.
wrong.
I love you.
Get resources.
Prime, I wish more leftists. I wish more leftists would condemn, like, pedophilia, like you are right now. And I just really wish you would spend more time talking to your friends and convincing them that pedophilia is a problem.
Yeah, but like people use that as like their big way to like just virtue signal their position. Like, oh my god, like I think we can do better than just like pedophiles are dark, evil people. Like, okay, bro, we get it. Like, I don't know. I just think it's that deep.
No, it's incredibly deep. We're talking.
It's not that deep at all. But the hole that they need to be buried in
And there's the problem.
It should have no
I
light.
know, but
Real
that's
talk.
the
No,
truth.
no, real talk.
But that is
There's
a
Okay.
problem. But that is a problem because when you
How is it a
talk
problem?
like that, no.
Because if you
If we're
think you're
talking
going to
about an
die,
individual
Helping children.
who has actually hurt a child, right? Oh, that's a different story. Okay, we can all agree to that. I think the focus are when we're having this particular conversation, which is different from like the topic. But
Sorry.
the focus should be on people who haven't offended. For those individuals, and there's lots of them. There's lots of them, right? There's more than you want to know. People who are out there. If we are saying that we want to bury you within a hole, well, that causes that stigma where they won't want to reach out for help, and we want them to do that before
Sure.
they take their desires
Well, yeah,
out
you need
on,
to have
on a random
negative
child or
stigma
their
for
own
that
child.
behavior.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think you need to have a negative stigma for that behavior. If you have shown that there is no tolerance for that type of behavior in our society, then you make that stigma. It should be something to dissuade those people from acting on that type of predatory behavior.
So maybe
Stigma
I
does not
used the
always
word stigma
dissuade.
incorrectly. Maybe that's not the word I want to use here, right? Yes, we can have a stigma that we shouldn't be able to do it, which is what I said previously, right? That you shouldn't take those actions. However, we want to we want to create. We want people to know that like okay, so this taking out child involvement at all, right? A person with like violent tendencies, like they're thinking about like they think about violence, they think about like shooting people, right, or doing something else horrible, and like it's obsession. They're drawing it, like this is what's on their mind, and they like the idea, but it scares them, right? That individual, we want to stigma on shooting, right? Correct. But also we want to say that okay, something's going on with you. We want you to get resources and not take up a gun and do whatever the fuck. Right? That's what I'm saying.
I got a real question though. Like, so is the line drawn at harm, or is just being in possession of child pornography like cool? Because I'm not above putting them in the same hole too. Like I don't like it at all. Like that's a hard stance no for me. If those people popped up dead tomorrow, if Jared from Subway popped up dead tomorrow, I'd be cool. I'd be real cool. I might go buy a Subway sandwich the same day, just to be honest.
I think child pornography.
Somebody can go get help, cool, but not for anything that they've done. I just want to be really hard on that. If you've done anything, child pornography, all of that stuff, like anything involving a child, I'm done. Like, let's just get you up out of here.
I think
we need to be careful.
There's no redemption from that. I don't see that being redeemable. I don't see you being able to go, yo, I'm finna walk this back. And like, yo, I supported this community that was harming people's, like, it's beyond just harming someone in the act. This human being now has to grow with this. That is perpetual pain.
But the thing is here,
pain forever.
The degree, so
you can grow from
smooth. What you're saying there, though, is
from your pain. What?
So smooth. Yes. What you're saying there, though, is you have that sort of prescription could be so. It might be like a visceral. It might be like a really high standard of a stigma there that it could make someone who's just only even having the thoughts of doing those things to not even report themselves or be entered into a hospital to get help. Like there's a possibility that even just the fear of what you're recommending could stop someone from actually seeking help before when they even just have the thoughts and they haven't done the action. And that I don't know. That's where I think you probably.
I think it was really clear
my thing is I want them to know. I want them to know that it's unacceptable.
And you're talking about the people who do the harm, right? But Prime agrees with you.
Yes, but no.
That's
but
what he's talking about.
My thing is. So if someone's like, oh, I have a hard sense against racism. I fucking hate it. I hate it to the core of my being because I think it's stupid. Now, if I'm not saying like, oh, we need to put you in a hole, but however, if you are historically like doing bad things towards people, yeah, we need to let it be known that this behavior is unacceptable and stop playing with it. I think that's the problem
Yeah.
with America. People, we dance
We
around
all-
a lot of
I
things that we
agree.
should.
Like, I
but
think
that's
we all
different.
agree
I
with
think
that.
the social work should. I
We
think
all
the
agree
We
with
social
that.
work
definitely
should go
dance here in America.
That's
We
different
definitely
than
dance.
redemption.
Yeah, I was-
When it comes to redemption, like even a racist can redeem himself, right? I met
Okay.
a previous Grand Dragon of the KKK, and now he runs a nonprofit that actually stops little white children from joining KKK. So he goes to multiple schools and be like, "Yo, I went through this and I did this because I was lonely and I just wanted to belong to an organization." And KKK was the first people to recruit me, and I want you to guys know that that's not the way to go, and what I did was wrong. So he redeemed himself, and he's hurt
Yeah,
by what
but
he's
I-
done.
I mean, I
So
think
that's-
depending on how
just
you
because
define
you've done
redeem.
wrong,
can go out there.
I think the prime, not
Redemption
prime,
arc.
but to Smooth's
a
point,
pedophile could be
that
like, "Yo, I did this."
that
and
is it still
shouldn't do
doesn't it still doesn't justify what has already been done. And I think a
I agree.
problem with our generation is that they've done everything to try to make this idea of being attracted to people who look like children normalized. I mean, you take I mean, I love our anime, but you take a look at all of these fucking all
My
these fucking
goodness.
lollies and lollies and lolitas in anime. They look like little children, but they're 3,000 years old, and
Wait.
then people are going out there making pornography.
You're saying this
about
is what
these-
Prime was saying, though? You started
No,
out saying
I'm not
that?
saying that this is what Prime is saying. I'm saying that our generation has particularly the people on the left, to quote Fanatic, particularly the people on the left have made this so much more normalized to where now we've got this weird group of people that only consume lolly porn. And if they don't look like they're a kid, it doesn't work for them. And we
Right,
have
so-
to figure out how we're going to
I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. You're just pulling stuff out of your butt, right? Like,
Wait,
like,
what?
What do you?
Wait,
No. The lolly porn thing is for real.
I
No,
get
no,
what
no,
he's
no,
saying. I
but
get what
like-
he's saying.
No, I don't understand what he's saying. Like, what is the point of this, right?
He's saying
So-
he's saying we normalize.
Yeah, I heard.
He's
that-
saying
I
we
heard him
should be
say that.
harsher.
Yeah.
You're saying we should be harsher in rhetoric so that we don't normalize these things and have people that
Yeah.
think it's acceptable to watch lolly porn and jack off and shit.
Okay.
How much
right.
harsher can the punishment
Okay,
be than put him in a
now-
hole?
Oh boy. All right,
Isn't
so
it
now-
illegal?
No, it's
Lolly
well,
porn is
No,
not
it's not
illegal. It's
illegal.
animation.
It's not legal
Because
to
it's a
watch lolly
cartoon.
porn.
Yeah, it's an animation.
Okay,
But what I'm
actually-
saying is that makes
Wait,
that gives a lot more credence to these people who say that they are minor attracted, because what they consume
I
is
hate the word minor. I hate that.
young
minor
is people
Yeah,
that look
pedophile.
like
Just say
children.
pedophile. See?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
say
Pedophile is
pedophile.
more.
So
Pedophile is way more specific.
this
so
is-
yeah.
The only reason why I didn't say pedophile in this case is because I was talking
okay, this is
specifically
where I
about the
disagree.
lolly.
This is
Oh,
where
'cause you're talking to a leftist?
I'm gonna hard disagree. And this is
No, it's
no,
not
this
so
is the
much to
thing.
talk about the left.
Right wing
This is the thing.
pedophile.
Oh my
This
God,
is a
talking.
feeble
Shut
foul
up.
and all that.
I'm talking. All right. So this is the thing that's gonna set GSU and Fanatic off. Right? You ready? Okay. All right.
Oh, God.
So when it comes to like what a person does within like the privacy of their own headspace, that's their business. That part, like, what I'm concerned is about children being hurt, right? That's my only priority, right? To keep that from happening.
You don't.
But
You don't think
beyond
it
that,
increases the likelihood that people will act with little children if they're masturbating to
that's
child
the
porn?
same. That's the same thing they'll use against
That's
porn
really
in
yes, no
general.
question.
No.
They'll use that
Like, if
against
you
video
watch
That's
games.
a
porn-
yes, no question.
If you watch
They use
rape
that
porn-
against
no, I
video
say
games.
no. I say no. If you watch rape porn, then that makes you more likely to
You're
rape
cool
women,
with
right?
child porn.
Sorry, what?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
hold on. If I watch a whole bunch of wives being destroyed by black bulls, it makes me want to pursue that job. So yeah, I'm not like the idea that we're gonna
that makes
that
say
these
more
people are gonna
about
watch
you than
kids
anything else.
and not want to do that.
Right.
I mean, it does say a lot about me. I want to be inside of somebody's white wife and stretch her out. Like, but that doesn't mean like I think the kids, if people, okay, I'm sorry, I'm just meaning. All right.
Holy shit!
So you would have done that anyway.
My
Anyway.
goodness.
I mean, look, we all got our jobs. Don't judge me. Halfway
Yeah.
being
Okay with child porn though, right?
You-
Like,
no, but Brian,
it's
my
unethical.
Yeah,
No,
one is well, not only is it unethical, and I think that we do have to demonize like, the thoughts that people are having inside of their minds, and here's why. Because I would say that, like the frustration that comes from like the idea of like having these attraction and then like just normalizing it, like this is just the way I've built, I can't do anything about it. I think sexual frustration will eventually lead to them harming people. Look at what's happening within the Catholic Church. You tell a bunch of niggas you can't get married, and so then these niggas are not only raping the altar boys, they're raping the nuns, right? So it's like we obviously
And
see
the nuns are raping people too. Yeah.
I didn't know that one, but that's,
Yeah, that's
I
the
mean,
thing.
I wouldn't even doubt it. Like, I mean, you're sexually backed up. So then if you tell these people, like, it's okay to have these thoughts in your head, and you don't, if you normalize that, then they won't want to seek the help necessary to stop that kind of stuff.
No, it's no.
You can-
Seeing that porn doesn't necessarily normalize it, right? Doesn't like the stigma that is
How does it not
very
normalize it?
present, right? Doesn't necessarily so okay, like take away the porn, right? Take it away, right?
You agree with that, right? Take away the child porn.
But you
Okay,
can't you can't
okay,
take that
Oh,
away
no,
because the
just
people
please
who
say
are
yes.
No.
getting
Let's say
those-
no.
I'll watch
no.
NCR.
Wait a minute.
Damn.
Hold on. CP is something very specific, right? So
Yeah.
like it's a child being damaged and then someone filming it so other people can get sexual gratification out of that, right? That is not what we're talking about, and I don't support that. And please don't even make it sound like I'm anywhere near that neighborhood. Talking
Okay,
about
cool.
like
No.
a drawing
But
is different, right? Like if
I
a
agree.
drawing. No, stop,
Understand it's-
please. Hey, I'm talking. Knock it off. Thank you. Okay, so watching like because you can see all kinds of violent media, right? And when it becomes drawn, it can even be worse, right? Crazy shit that can happen, but no one there is actually being hurt. That like they have adult actors making noises there. Let's be very clear, right? I don't support CP. People who make it, yes, they should be under that hole that fucking Smooth is talking about, right? There's no question about that. However,
Yeah, the Kevin Spacey hole.
removing that, stepping back from this drawn animation, right? Stepping back from that for a second, if that same individual, right, who has those urges is just like imagining like kids who they see like at the fucking swimming pool, right? Like, what is the harm done in both of those scenarios? You cannot stop one, right? Can't stop that person who sees kids because kids just exist in the world, right? And decides to start fucking jacking off to them. You can't stop that. That's the thing, right? It's like whatever. And then this other thing, it actually doesn't damage anyone.
So I'm asking you a slightly different question, right?
Okay.
I'm not saying whether or not we're going to be able to make it illegal, track people down, make it where it doesn't exist. I'm asking you, do you discourage the act, right? That's different, right? I'm asking you personally, if I was your friend, or I don't want to use me because it's disgusting. If Dream was your friend and he was like, yo,
There you go. That's perfect.
listening, I like watching simulated child porn. That shit gets me off. Would you be like, oh, that's cool?
Oh, simulated like animated?
Would you be like, bro, you probably shouldn't do that? Like, would you discourage it?
Is it
Would you
on?
encourage it? Would you be neutral or what?
It's not. That is not child pornography. Again.
No, yeah, for sure it's not. Yeah, for sure
Okay,
it's not.
great. If someone came to me and told me, here's what I would ask them. I would say, "Hey,
Dream. Let's use Dream.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
All
I'm
right.
joking.
I mean,
If Dream
I'm
came
joking,
and
bro.
told,
Jesus.
Don't say I mean. What? Why do you say that?
I know
Don't
he's
do
joking.
that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, it's fine. He was saying Dream is just joking. I was like, yeah, I know.
okay, whatever, doesn't matter. If someone came, if anonymous person came to me and said that they were watching that stuff, I'm like, okay, cool, right? But you don't have any urges to do this in real life, right, buddy? Like, it was,
Yep.
right? Oh no, you don't? Great. Well, that's fantastic. As long as you're not, those urges don't translate into real life, then that's fine, right? Like, it's the same, like literally the amount of harm done. This is what I'm concerned about, is the harm done. The harm done there is the exact same as like within the child. Like so it's like to say that like this is the same thing, right? Like the drawings
Yeah.
are the same
If
thing.
you,
Like
I think
children
if you,
exist everywhere, and in our society, and I think you guys would agree that like children are sexualized all the time, right? In
especially on
advertisements,
Pride Parades.
sure.
especially,
Yes,
especially,
yes, yes.
There are so many places where our
absolutely.
children are sexualized, even young children, right? Within our media, right? And not like to the point of like fucking or some shit right there, but they are sexualized. Like if you are that type of person who has those feelings, you got plenty of fucking material, right? So that makes no difference in my hand. I'm talking about like actually taking that step, and I think
I think you're hurting yourself at
and
this
here's the
point.
last thing I'll say, and I'll stop. Is that I think people underestimate just how many people are like that within our society, right? I think all we can't help but assume, right? Like the creepy guy behind the bush is ready to grab a kid, right? Someone who is so like utterly perverted and like irredeemable, right? But just look, just like Chris Hansen when he did those things, right? Like did the that
Hero.
show, yeah, right. He saw all those individuals who are ordinary people, right? Ordinary people who are within our communities, right? There are a lot of people, and and I would say that their likelihood to actually offend is on a spectrum, right? Some people are just like a little bit interested in this kind of stuff, right? Who like to look at maybe that sort of material, like the cartoons and stuff, right?
Mhm.
And then from there, all the way to someone who is like a vicious offender, right?
But this
And
is
I think we assume too many people are on the far more dangerous side, and then we
not.
take those characteristics and spread it on all the others. Sorry.
I'll tell you, this is why I have a problem with it. And it's because, like you said, it's like a spectrum, right? I think a society that embraces people privately watching this or simulated versions of it or whatever, I think that society is going to have more harm to children. And that's why I'm against it. So, like, yeah, you can say that there's a range of like from extremely aggressive to like docile men that watch
that could
this.
be the case.
But I think the society that is okay with this has more of those people on that spectrum, and some of those people are going to eventually harm kids. So that's why I'm against it.
What
Gambit,
about, what about
categorically.
rape porn?
It's the
I
same
think
thing.
I don't. Yeah, I would be if you ask me, do I think it's like good to ride the weight prop? Hell no. It's terrible. I don't think people should do it. Now
It
I don't know if
I mean,
we're not
it
going to create a law
goes.
against this stuff, but
Hold on, hold
I
on.
don't. Yeah,
I think what
It-
Gambit says it raises a good point. So if we were to for a fact know that not allowing people to even watch this privately, and I'm not talking about actual child porn because child porn actually does
Yeah.
commit harm. But I'm talking about like just fantasies. If we were to know that as a society, actually not even that, because you can make the argument about guns too. So if we were to know as a society that banning guns would decrease the amount of shootings, that doesn't mean that you should ban guns because you have the liberty argument. Just you have the right to for self-defense and therefore get a gun, even if allowing guns. So just because as a society,
yeah.
we
So what you just pointed out is there could be utility to allowing something that could have harmful consequences, but
Yeah.
to me, there is no utility in allowing simulated child porn, or anything other like.
because I think there is other ways to stop child molesters other than banning fake child porn.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure. There
see,
could be other ways.
So
I'm
we
not.
can allow
It's the only way.
fake child porn and do other mechanisms to stop.
Well, it's not an
child
issue of
molesters.
banning the fake child porn. That's not the issue. The issue that I think that
I
Gambit
thought that's what we're talking about.
is trying
Yeah,
to
sweet.
elucidate here is that because you are consuming this type of material, whether it be rape porn or animated child porn, that consuming that type of material, it paints a picture about you as a person, about what you are likely to do if put in a situation.
But what if it doesn't? Are you now
It's not
DeAndre? Hold on.
you don't
Hold on. DeAndre,
work on that assumption.
Are you now saying that it's impossible for somebody to watch a certain type of media and then now they are slave to what they watch, right? They can't discern that this is fantasy from reality. Like, are you so? I think I don't think no. I know he's not saying that. That's why I'm saying it, because obviously he's not saying that. if you're not saying that, I know you shouldn't be, even if you are, that's insane. But since you're not saying this, it makes logical sense that there's probably something else wrong that's probably influencing this person to do what they're going to do. Like, so there's
So
probably something that
They're
we should
watching,
change else.
They're watching
think
simulated porn. That's what's influencing them. I
But I'm saying
mean, you
it's not.
you don't get much more with these particular issues when it comes to things like sexual predation and predatory behavior. You don't get much more on that particular thought pattern if you aren't consuming materials that
But
give you the sexual
DeAndre,
gratification.
what is the difference
for those
between
type of materials?
there's two people. One, both of them consume the same material. What makes one person take that material to heart and then enact it in real life, and the other be like, "This is just fantasy."
opportunity usually, which is why we
Yeah.
want to discourage people.
What
from
if they
even-
both have? What if they both have equal access to that same opportunity, and one person still says like, "You know what? This is just fantasy. I'm not
Well,
gonna like
see,
this."
this is the problem with
I'm
with
asking
your
you, like,
argument. The problem with your argument is you're assuming that what we're trying to do is outright stop people from having their own personal choices and personal freedom. So that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that when you are operating in this space of predation, you cannot operate on the assumption that they will consume the media and not be influenced to go do
Fact.
harmful acts.
no, they may
So
or may
are
not
you
be influenced.
stating
But them
that
being
everybody is equal opportunity to become a child molester or pedophile?
Let's-
So if every
I
human being on the
was wondering
planet,
if we're having the same conversation.
if every human being on the planet watched Lolicon, would everyone on the planet become a pedophile?
That's not what we're saying. We're saying that you don't operate on the assumption that that those particular people will not do that. You have to operate on the assumption that, hey, these people that are consuming porn that is designed to look like children, I need to watch. I need to keep an eye on them because I don't want my kids to be.
Are
in
you
that
gonna
particular
watch out for
We
situation.
don't do
GTA
that
5
for-
players?
So
Are you
yeah,
gonna watch
exactly
out for
what I'm
GTA
saying.
5 players in
Okay.
case they steal your car?
I want to.
No, yeah, that we
The
don't
answer
do
is
that for
yes.
any,
No.
Can I-
any other.
No.
And
Yes, we
in
do.
this sector, we don't do that, right? When it
Oh, yes, we do.
comes to-
All day,
No,
yes, we
we
do.
don't.
They say it all day long about the
we
video
do.
games.
We already have
And that's
games
wrong.
okay, it's not. We have games where we literally separate them based on rated E for everyone and rated T for
ESRB.
teen and so on and so forth, right? We do this within
not the
film
same.
where we say, okay, without movies, okay, this thing is PG-13, so
That's
you
not
can't
what
be
we're
watching
talking
these
about.
kinds of things, whatever. No,
that's
my
different.
point being, one, we already do like recognize like that we try to limit exposure to certain people until they get to a certain age to make things appropriate. Furthermore, we don't sit here and make laws based off of the idea of something that will never happen or anything like that. We wouldn't say, oh, it doesn't seem like we would never go around saying, well, what would be an example? We're not going to go around saying not every person that experiences this is going to be a problem, so therefore we can't do it. We'll say if there's a higher correlation, and this is something that maybe we should avoid, especially when it comes to something like protecting our children. It seems like
Exactly.
we're willing to restrict people's freedoms, right? At the limitation of when it comes to the idea of protection. We limit personal
We don't
freedoms
do
when
that
it
with
comes to,
guns.
huh? We do. Well, there's a specific component regarding the First Amendment that prevents us from doing that with guns in particular, and we still do that with guns, where we say,
Second
okay,
Amendment.
certain background checks, where we'll say certain things like, red flag laws and things like that. We do those
Right,
kinds of
there
things.
is some
Restricting
limitations that are outright banned.
restricting limitations based on felons and things like that. So we do that thing already.
That's
We
not
do
what we're talking
restrict, but we
about.
don't do an
Hold on,
outright ban.
fanatic,
That's what I'm saying.
fanatic, right? There are violent individuals, right? What we know, and we know this from our real fucking life, there are violent individuals in this world, right? In this country, the United States. There are violent, disturbed individuals, and who have thoughts of possibly doing violent things in the real world. However, we also have violent media where people get shot, people get assaulted, and it's glorified, right? That you could be a hero if you take up a gun, right? Against a cause or the fuck, right? We glorify this violence, and it's everywhere. It's suffused within our society, right? But we don't say, right? We don't say that that media necessarily will cause those individuals to be violent. We don't. Sorry. we don't.
What are you talking
Sorry,
about?
sorry,
Every
sorry.
time you turn
Hold
on the
on,
media,
am
you
I
see that.
talking? Am I talking? Hold on. Great, thanks. Great. We don't assume that or we don't stop that media from being played, right? Like we still have these movies, we still have all these violent imagery, right? But as society, we're like that. This is okay, right? So we don't do that in other areas. This is the exact same argument, correct? Right? I laid out the exact same scenario. There are people who want to do a thing that we don't want them to do, right? Some sort of negative behavior, and then we have media that displays that negative behavior, and then we don't take away that media just for that purpose, correct? Because we just don't assume that this is gonna.
Because we make, well, as a society, we made the discernment that fantasy is not reality, and when you consume fantasy, doesn't mean you'll enact it in reality.
So
For the people that do, we have issues with those type of people. We don't have the issue with the media itself. So we do have an issue with the person that will play GTA, that will play Call of Duty, and be like, "Hey, oh, this shooting is kind of fun. Let me go out and do that." There are people like that. There has been people like that. Right? But we're not going to say it's because they watched it. It's them. It's them themselves.
And it's not just them. It's not just them as individuals. We start looking at a collective, and what we are seeing is that when you expose young children to like enhanced violence and things like that, then there does seem to be this correlation.
18 plus.
Likewise, okay. Well, yeah, just to be clear, so we do like already like make sure like that we restrict things based on society, based on whether there's a cause for harm. And the reason why, I get that. Trust me, I'm not stupid. Let me finish, and then you'll understand why you're being stupid for interrupting me in the middle of my point. When we start talking about when it comes to we make these distinctions when it comes to like children. For example, we've already seen that like there are studies that demonstrate that children when exposed to pornography are more likely to be violent in some of their intimate relationships and things like that for 10th graders. That's where that study was done. 10th graders who watch porn, whatever. So then we have rules and ideas against what we're doing those things for children, right? But we don't have those same rules for adults. So it does seem like the requisite for us to decide that we should enact some sort of limitation is if we can tie it or associate it with some sort of harm. And that's what we're talking about here. So when it comes to the adult thing, when it comes to like exposure to like child porn and things like that, we would assume that there would be some sort of harm or something that would be developed, and that's why we would say this is something that we should restrict. It's the same exact kind of concept.
So it's not child porn.
I'm not against restricting. There's probably some type of restriction out there that's reasonable. But what I'm against is an outright ban that maybe some people here are advocating.
Nobody here is arguing for
nobody said anything about
a ban.
I wasn't even talking
ban.
about
What's the restriction?
What I was talking about was whether we publicly. What I was arguing about was whether we publicly discourage or encourage behavior. I said it like multiple times. I never talked about an outright ban.
Fanatic said restriction.
I would talk about an outright ban, though. I would. I'm sorry. Exactly. I guess maybe that's a bullet that I'm absolutely willing to bite, and a hill that I'm willing to die on. If we're talking about
what?
Huh?
Of what?
Yeah, if we're talking about like simulations of childhood porn, of child porn, I would say we should outright ban that.
It's like that.
So you're against all hentai, basically.
No, we're talking about drawings. What?
Yeah, I'm talking about simulations, drawings, cartoons.
I'm talking about GSU. I'm talking about GSU. GSU said that.
GSU
said photorealistic, which would be drawings.
We're talking about
what? Drawings are photorealistic? Like Naruto?
You're talking about 3D animation.
Wait a second, Prime.
Hold on, you're talking about 3D animation.
That's what he talked about. He talked about like hentai from Japan.
Well, Prime, if I had a collection of drawings, all of young kids naked, and a police officer came in my house and they got all of that shit, I would go to jail for having that collection of drawings.
You wouldn't.
Yes, you would. That is.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, you would. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
Having that would be considered having child pornography. According to our law.
It is.
Not on photos.
It's actively lying.
I am not. I think sorry, I'll say this last thing. Now we're gonna go smooth because he's been trying to get in for a while. I would say to Pace, I'm actually not quite sure. Like the law, I think is not clear. I looked into this. There was a change in the George W. Bush era, and this dude got, and I don't remember the exact details of this case, right? But I remember this dude was importing books from Japan, right? Like manga. He's a big manga fan, right? He just imported lots of this stuff, right? On all kinds of subject matter. And then he got caught with a manga book, a hentai manga, that I think featured some of this stuff, and then he was prosecuted for it. That's my
I
understanding.
wonder if it was
It might have
photorealistic.
been.
So I
It
don't
might have
know.
been.
That's all it is. So
Yeah, it might have been a copyright issue, not a.
I don't think it was. No, it was a
Not
copyright
pornography.
issue. It was.
So you think it was
not
a he got arrested for cartoon porn? Really? I gotta look this up. You need a. I need a
The
citation
law,
for
the
this.
law as it
So-
relates to child pornography is very very vague when it comes to the type of media,
I
and
think
you
it got
are
expanded.
and
under the Bush
he was probably more faced larger charges for purchasing, because you get a larger charge for purchasing and importing than you do for distributing.
Smooth.
It seems to only be in
Oh
California.
shit, you're right.
You can get arrested.
I just
for
looked it
those.
up. To clarify, under federal law, drawing and animation are considered
Exactly.
child pornography, and you can be convicted for possession or marketing.
I
of
said.
it.
Okay,
I
thank
said-
God. So we are on the same page. Thank the
I
Lord.
said that in the
So we are.
beginning. I
just-
thought
Look,
Sorry,
really-
Smooth. Smooth has been waiting. Smooth, please.
I want to be really clear.
Weirdo.
Clear, not queer. Clear.
Really
Clear.
huh?
Okay. Very clear that I'm not saying I'm minority reporting people. Okay. Like, I'm not talking about, you thought about doing a crime in the future, so therefore we're just going to kill you. Like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the things that get people to places where they harm people. We need to mitigate those circumstances to get them there. If this case is this lolly porn stuff, it has to stop. It has to stop, because once you have that, it's a stepping stone towards something else. Like,
Marijuana is a gateway drug.
No, wait. Now listen. Wait. A lot of people. There's people that are into something that's perfectly legal. BDSM is perfectly legal. Where do you get your ideas from? You know what I'm saying? Like, where did you first see that from? You don't just initially go in your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, if all you've seen is vanilla your whole life. Like, no, you went and you've seen these
That's not
acts
true.
be performed, and you're like,
That's not
yo,
true.
I like it. So
That's
you
not
go
true.
and you go find somebody else that likes it. That's legal. That's fine.
That's not
You
true.
can participate in that.
You can see
But
kids in
with
real
child
life
porn,
and become a.
Let him
You
finish,
don't have to watch child porn first
Let him finish.
to
let
be
him
a
finish.
pedophile.
drink,
Go ahead,
drink.
Matt. Smooth.
But with anything relating to getting you to commit acts against children, that needs to stop. Lolly porn, like,
Why
there
is that
should
a
be
lot?
no substitute.
Okay. So, like, that's not true, right? One, you can like, on your own, like, get into BDSM. You don't need any media, right? The people who have a feeling on behavior they want to engage in, right? That can happen. You don't need to see any media to make that happen at all. That's but beyond that, so you would agree then, of course, Smooth, that we should start banning violent movies, violent video games, all that needs to go, correct?
So what about 50 Shades of Grey in the movie theater?
No,
That's banned too.
Smooth. Answer that question.
So 50 Shades of Grey, it's adults consenting to. That's fine. That is fine. Violence and
What about
violence
movies?
Violence in media. You have to take that as its own things, because there's levels of violence. If you're talking about, we're finna show you, huh?
The most violent stuff, then. Yeah, sure. We got that on
No.
TV.
So listen. There's a difference between watching something that's extremely graphic, like watching people be beheaded on a regular basis. That's a bit much.
We've seen Hollywood movies where they do that.
hold on.
Where they
So we
got
can't
behead a
behead?
person.
No,
Like Game of Thrones does that all the time.
Yeah.
No,
We've
that's
seen
not,
that in
no,
movies
that's
all
not,
the time.
That's not in mass like that. It's
Spartacus.
not the same.
It's not
does
in
that.
mass.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't
So-
have enough of it. It's like we haven't reached a level
It's
where
not
it
the
matters. Okay,
same.
so we had just one.
context is not the same.
The content is not the
If
same,
we
but
had
it's
just
still
one
immoral.
Lolicon
The
cartoon,
content
right?
itself.
is not
If
the
we had
same.
just one
What's the
Lolicon
context?
cartoon, that'd be fine then. Then
No.
then,
Oh my
scenario.
gosh. Y'all
Wait.
are
I think I get. Actually.
This is.
I think I get smooth argument now.
One second.
No.
Smooth.
I don't know
Right?
what's
Like, this is
happening.
pretty simple. Excuse me. Smooth. This is pretty simple, right? You're saying, like, I don't know why you're making this special caveat. You're saying that this media, right, that is displaying behavior that we, us as a society do not want, right? This negative behavior that needs to be restricted because it will cause something to happen. Okay, great, right? Then I'm with you. Then that means like violent video games everywhere, right? Which depict the most violent, like the things that I have played on video. I've been playing fucking Elden Ring, and the level of violence that you see there. You see video games where they like you can systematically dismember a person, right?
They got saw.
They're saw, right? Like you're not a passive person. You're actively doing it, right? And so how is this not the same? Explain that to me.
Wait, Prime. I need to make
smooth.
So listen. It's simply just not like they've already done the studies. Like people don't go, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? I've done this I'm playing violence or whatever as an adult, and I do that. And then plus I would additionally say some violence is absolutely necessary. Therefore, you cannot because violence is sometimes necessary, and violence is sometimes correct response.
So we want to show media
we're not obviously we're not talking about that.
There's no roadmap to where watching child porn is somehow necessary. And the act of fucking children is okay.
Is this an instructional manual? These video games are an instructional manual for you, right? And you said it's sometimes necessary, so you have to play
instructional manual.
Okay, well then I don't know why you're even bringing up why violence
you're
is
bringing
necessary.
Something irrelevant.
Yes,
some violence is not violence, but we're not talking about
necessary
that.
Yeah, I know it's irrelevant. I don't know why
you're not necessary.
But video games. Hold on, smooth. You understand that video.
Y'all just picking on somebody that doesn't know how to express it very well. Can I just go ahead and steal minutes? You guys can stop going down this stupid train, please. For the love of God, I think
people we do too.
Yeah, I get it. But you guys are hammering on, and he's obviously trying his best to defend the position and failing. But the purpose of me doing that is so that we can actually move the conversation forward because you're making a stupid point that all the other 9 people in the room can see. That's when I'm doing that. What you guys are doing is just trying to pick on somebody that's not fully expressing the idea. That's the difference, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I thought you would understand. Good. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Ask me anything. So my point being, when we look at like the difference, what Smooth is saying is that one of these things is a normal part of society that like does exist, that we're already whatever, and so you're like storytelling around these things. What he's talking about when it comes to the lolly, like the difference between that and the lolly stuff is that this is something that is like absolutely reprehensible, that we would never want represented, never want replicated, and so then that's why this is something that we should never ever like put in like in any form whatsoever, right? Like, and we also feel like that exposure to this kind of stuff can normalize that behavior in someone's mind and then cause them to want to do those kind of things even more. That would be the other thing.
But that's an easy refutation. So you just explained Smooth's point, but you can agree that's a dumb point, right?
I don't think that's a dumb point at all.
I can refute it. You've signed up on that. Fantastic. Jesus. Okay, so now you're saying you're hiding behind. Oh well, violence happens all the time in the world, right? But we want less violence, and we're talking. And I'm talking about extreme violence. Like, hey, mass shootings, right? Like taking a gun, spraying into the crowd. We have that in movie theaters where we display that behavior, where we take a gun and spray it into a crowd of individuals. That's the thing. We have Call of Duty Warfare 3, maybe, where there's an airplane scene, and then you can go through whichever one it was. Yeah. You can spray the crowd. Gun down everyone.
That's true. Wait a second.
That is not the behavior. I'm assuming, Fanatic, that you want replicated in the world, but it's behavior that we glorify and that we display everywhere, right? So that is not necessary violence, correct?
You're pulling
that
at straws here
normal
because
violence. It's not like kids fighting or something. That's not normal violence, right?
Yeah, of course not. But the difference.
So why would not restrict that as well, right? If you're saying that we don't replicate this violence, that we do, right? Not replicate, that we see this violence within this world, right? We do that, then why would not follow? If it's for that one negative behavior, why would not be the other one then?
Here, I'll answer. So it's really simple. So like the difference is, right? like there has been no correlation from any of the studies shown that shows like watching violent stuff on television and like people wanting to be people being more violent, right? Like exposing adults to like violent video games, there doesn't seem like that tends to correlate with higher violence like in their actions. So that's why we wouldn't start restricting these things. But what the second component of what I was talking about was specifically about the idea that exposing someone to like this sort of behavior, like things like lolly porn, would normalize that in their minds and therefore make them more likely to engage in that kind of stuff themselves. That's why it's dangerous.
Is
That's
there
actually
a
100%
study
true.
that shows that watching
Yes.
lolly porn?
Yes, there
great.
are.
Then great. Then show it to me.
Can you link it?
Please.
If not, I can look for
They're
one.
not group DM. Okay.
Even if it's not right, let me. There's a point about personal freedom, and just because some other people are abusing their freedoms doesn't mean that my freedom should be stripped away.
But no,
right?
no one's saying. Well, I mean, Fanatic might be saying to ban
so
it, but
don't say no one.
But no one's saying other than Fanatic is talking about restricting that freedom. What the entire point of that conversation, as it relates to this particular story with the individual here, is we don't want to make that something that is normalized in our society. When you try to make the comparison to the video games stuff, we did a ton of studies on this crap in the 90s when it first took off, when they first made the ESRB thanks to Mortal Kombat. For example, PETA came out. They made so many studies trying to tie Pokemon to animal fighting. Has no correlation. Then you had in the 90s, the religious people were trying to say that Pokemon was related to the devil. Has no correlation. They've been trying to do studies to take down video game industry for a long time, and all their studies have proven the exact opposite. But when we talk about pornography, and particularly as it relates to men, how it changes their sex drive, how it changes their sexual behavior, how it damages them on a emotional and mental level, we have data after data after data on those types of studies, and they break it down into several different categories. That's the reason why Pornhub got in trouble and had to delete almost all of their shit
That's
because
of that. Because they had actual child pornography. No, they had actual child pornography.
They also had
Lolicon.
You go on there. You can't find. You can't.
Lolicon is illegal at the federal level in the United States. Okay, I thought our country actually made some sense sometimes, and this seems like this is one of those cases. So it actually appears that Lolicon is considered child pornography at a federal level. So right.
I said that.
Okay, I got it. I get it because you're a leftist, and I get it. Even if you
try that. No. So what you're trying to do, what Fanatic is trying to do, and it's pretty pathetic, and you wouldn't accept this otherwise, right? What he's trying to do is say, oh, the law says it, right? So that it must be true. That like the law, like we in this country, we design laws around like facts and studies, which is not a thing that we do.
No, that's not the argument I'm making.
People's morals.
That's not the argument I'm making at all.
That's literally what you just brought in, right? You literally brought in, hey, well, at the law, we recognize that. No, we already we
what are
literally
you
granted
talking
that
about?
earlier. We literally granted that earlier.
Okay, well, I missed the point where you guys mentioned that earlier.
Okay, great.
I did. I'm sorry. Okay, great. So I thought this was a brand new revelation. It was a new revelation to me. So I mentioned for me. Did you not hear the smugness that I was saying this with? Like, obviously, I thought it was new information. So I clearly missed the thing that you guys were saying earlier. However,
we knew information.
You said that
was new information. Nobody else knew that.
Oh,
everybody thought it was legal. That was new information.
I mentioned it, but I wasn't strong on you mentioning it.
I just had a conversation about this.
Anyways,
and
Fanatic.
Put it in the penal code.
So my point being,
I think the law. I think the law says.
He said in California in the group. In the group message said in California. Fanatic said federally it's illegal.
I'm the one who
it's not illegal at the state level in California, but it's federally legal.
Look. Fanatic, you weren't listening. Jesus. Well, because I literally brought up the Bush administration making a change in the law. I'm the one who did it just a few minutes ago. That's what I said that.
You might have done that as I was reading it. Then maybe.
I want to make a clear distinction. Please let me make this clear distinction. Let me clarify first. And then you can speak right after. I'm making it one sentence. The illegality of Lolicon is possession and distribution. Not distribution, possession, distribution, and advertising. But it's not but it's not watching. You can consume it, like watch it online,
But
and that's not.
what does possession mean?
How could you watch without possessing it?
What are you talking about,
when you
Dream?
go on a website, you're not possessing it. Like it's
Oh
online.
my god.
No, that's
Okay.
not possession. Possession is downloading it. You don't have to
Okay,
download
and you're saying it's legal for them to watch it that way.
To watch
You're
it,
saying
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Okay, I don't believe that. I'm gonna have to look it up.
I
but yeah,
mean,
don't
that's
believe
what the
that
law says. I mean, that's how I
I'll
interpreted the
ask
law.
The
Pisco.
law,
I'll ask
the
Pisco,
law
'cause I
doesn't.
don't
The law
actually-
doesn't actually
Hold
say.
on,
Doesn't
Prime,
actually say
Prime.
that. That's the reason why we have these particular cases. That they just had a couple cases went to Supreme Court. They haven't made a decision on it yet. But the law doesn't specifically say anything about how you view it. It just says possession and distribution.
You can watch something without possessing it.
When
You know
you
that,
watch
right?
it, you technically possess it on your computer. There is no
it's-
distinction. When you
it's
stream
left
something,
purposely
when you
vague.
stream something, your computer is downloaded, even if it's temporarily. You
Yeah,
can charge
it's-
for possession.
Really?
We can make that. We can make
like
that
that.
argument.
Yeah,
but
yeah, go ahead
The,
and-
the way that the
If
way
you
that
watch something on the internet is delivering information to your computer to watch it. Yes, it's on your computer.
It's on your computer.
Okay.
the way
then I'm
the
wrong.
court defines it,
Temporarily, but yes.
they left it vague in order to give or in order to give the common person who doesn't understand all this crap, they give them a little bit of leeway and have the interpretation of the justice or the court and the jury make that decision. They left it vague purposely,
I'm
but
still-
it is up to interpretation of the
I'm
court.
still waiting for that study from you.
Yeah, but
let's JSU
hold
go. We're gonna have to end this part soon because we gotta move on. We gotta spend this time. So
The thing that I was saying was new and what Fanatic brought up was earlier we talked about child porn being illegal, and I thought we were talking about like realistic looking child porn was also illegal, and I thought that's what you were elucidating. I don't think lolly like I don't know exactly what it is. I thought that was the anime shit.
Yeah,
it is. I think.
Fanatic was talking about was illegal, and that's
And
why
you
I said
guys all said that it was legal. Y'all all said like lolly wasn't illegal.
Agreed that it was legal, and then he brought up that it was illegal. So that's what I'm saying. Fanatic was introducing something new because I thought all of us thought
it was not. Because
Maybe
I
I missed
already.
it.
I mentioned
you missed
I
it.
said
Everyone else
manga
heard it.
when I before.
I
I
mentioned-
brought that in. Okay, whatever. Let's not.
You did say manga.
I did, right? Correct. All right. So,
Right.
all right. Anyway, whatever. But we can continue the conversation, right? I'm not trying to run away from it. If you guys want to continue the conversation, we'll
Oh
have
yes,
one
you
more
are, Prime, because we know that. No, I'm kidding. I forgot the point I was making that you got all indignant about. I was making actually a valid point, and I can't remember what it was now. 'Cause you started like tormenting me about some crazy nonsense.
Think about it, right? Come back to me. I'll destroy you then. I'm here all day, right? So, so
Fine, hold on.
My
Before we go,
oh my god.
Before we go, one question: are you okay with that politician twerking? Now you're not running away.
I am
we do
more
shit
than
before.
I am more than okay, right?
He prefers
And
it actually.
I'm looking
In a
for
political
that,
ad.
and if Fanatic wants it, I'm looking
He
for
wants
that smoke.
AOC
all
to
right?
bust it open.
So Fanatic, I challenge you. I'm challenging Gambit. Challenge any of you. Got a problem with that? We got to
I
walk
can't
on
go.
panel.
Please go. No.
We got to open.
Please go.
Walk on panel right after this.
Jesus
right?
I remember when I introduced it to Prime, and Prime was like, "Damn, she's not bad looking."
Here's the problem with that, Prime. If you when you go to open panel, now we have to start entertaining white folks actually talking about black representation in media, and God knows I can't talk to white leftists about that.
Oh,
Jesus, it just I can't think of. I'd rather off myself.
Okay.
In a video
Oh my
game.
god. Look.
They might have a perspective.
Look.
Just kidding.
I
might
gotta
share
let
your
people
perspective
go.
for that.
Okay, all right. You want?
That's fair.
Here's what I'll do.
That's fair.
Here's what I'll do.
No, we can do it. We can do it. Let's do a walk on. We'll do it. I'll be in the walk on. Screw it. Let's do it.
Okay, all right.
Let's bring on the
give you a
idiots.
private audience with me, right? All right, we'll do it. We'll do a walk on panel. All right. Anything for my man Fanatic. All right. Got to make him comfortable before like the beat him. All right. It's cool. To my audience, right? We are going to continue with the content. The stream does not end, right? We have a walk on panel right after this, and I think it's something you're going to enjoy. You can be a part of it. You can come on in. You can argue with these motherfuckers, right? You can prove that you're a genius and side with me, or otherwise side with Fanatic. So we are going to. We will XWitchBoy Social and chat for our social media. First of all, hit the follow button on this channel. If you haven't done so yet, hit that follow button. Make sure the notifications are on so you know I'm going live. And we have the Twitter where we tweet things, Discord where this Open panel will happen. So jump on in, right? TikTok is where you'll find funny video, funny clips from the channel, and YouTube is where you'll find the VODs, right? So if you missed anything, and this was great, this is interesting. Not at all what I wanted to talk about. But
I saved us.
Oh boy.
We'd all agreed that there was no actual conversation.
Other direction to take us. I was just about to do that. When Jay left, I was gonna jump. All right, whatever. So check out our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, all that. Consider becoming a YouTube member. Hit that join button. It's putting us that way, if you like getting that content 7 days a week. Okay, I'm giving an outro to all these individuals. Remember, the content does not end. We're still gonna keep going. We're just gonna find individuals. Head out. So Bam. Thank you for coming through. You're a little quiet on the tail end, right? Bam, were you on my side or were you on the worst side?
I was actually on your side, and that's disgusting.
There we go.
I'm sorry, y'all. This cookie kicking my ass right now. but I was winning. I was winning the debate. That's all y'all need to know.
Nigga, don't watch this sober.
Yeah. You might want to. You might want.
Leave this one in your mind. Trust me.
I was on your side. I'm very sober. I think we might have lost this one today. I'm sorry, Bam.
Did we?
No.
Badly, bro.
Populism doesn't matter.
You know what? We had Dream on our side, and that he literally sunk the boat.
Wait.
I didn't.
But did we ever solve the case? Like, I know we took an interesting direction, but did we ever solve the case?
We never solved it. It was unsolved.
No, but I'm talking about the original case involving the pastor.
No, we no.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
No.
We basically agreed on that one.
Yeah, we agreed.
I also want to talk to a fanatic about the R. Kelly. Fuck. We'll do that in an open panel. We didn't solve anything here. All right, look, other than Prime is right as usual. Okay, so thank you.
I don't think you solved
that.
As
usual, as absolute fucking usual, right? Okay, so thank you so much, Bam. Much appreciated. All right, moving on. We have our friend Pace. Thank you, Pace, for being here. All right, thank you for bringing your conservative voice. The fact that you don't agree with us is fantastic, and we do appreciate you. All right, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you for having me. It's not so much about a conservative voice. It's just I have to err on the side of facts here, and the facts have just been that this type of behavior is just reprehensible, and should not be something that we encourage in our community. I mean, we want to. I'm so sick and tired of seeing Black people championed with this reprehensible behavior, as if there's nothing else that we can do, as if this is what is supposed to be representative of us. Why can't we have some more of these intelligent young Black people be the ones that we promote instead of these people that are going out there making us look like fools?
Based.
Thank you. All right. Next we got our man Sly. All right. Thank you, Sly, for being here. We're glad to have had you back after so many weeks. We really missed you, actually. So thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed the first part of the conversation. In the beginning of the CP conversation, I did mention that Lolly is illegal. But sometimes I'm a little bit rough today. I wasn't as outspoken and strong on that point, on the second point. So everyone kind of missed it, and I was just kind of watching y'all go back and forth, not knowing what y'all talking about. Just basically being Black. It was cool. I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Let's go to my man Smooth. Smooth, thanks for stopping by. We're always happy to have you around. Smooth runs a great show. You should check him out there. Smooth, thanks so much.
I'm so glad to have been a part of this conversation with you guys. The last 45 seconds are quite shameful, but it's okay. I was still here anyway. I just want to say, you guys can check me out at Homeroom with Smooth if you want to. Remember to sub to Prime, and remember death to all pedophiles. And I'm just gonna leave it there.
Thank you. Thanks for being reasonable. Next we have Lee the Water Kai. First time here. How was it? Will you be back in the future?
I'd love to come back, but it was a roller coaster.
That's how it always is.
Yeah, it really is. So, this was a truly contentious one. We had some great individuals. We had like a great cast of individuals here. So, like, shout out to literally everyone here. That's what made this all interesting. I'm not sure if it's good, but interesting. But anyway, thank you, Waterkai, for being around.
Thank you. And moral of the story: just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
Okay, all right. Next, we have our man D.
Hold on.
Dream.
Yep.
D10 Dream. Hateem, right? Well, God, I feel like you're always in the eye of the storm. Honestly, I feel like the hurricane usually centers around you for some reason. But you keep coming back, right? Like, that was amazing. So, no, and shout out to you because, like, you out there, no matter what, you come back and swinging every single week. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. I always pride myself on trying to be as logically consistent as possible. So I believe that I was really logically consistent. Although some of my views are not popular, but I don't care about popularity. I care about logical consistency. And even if I'm logically consistent and I'm wrong, I can like I was wrong today in some aspects, and I said, okay, yeah, I'm wrong on here, and I'm able to change my mind. So yeah, logical consistency is what I strive by. And I really thank you guys for having me on here. I really love being on here and just able to express myself. It can get heated, but that's what I like. I like heated. Fnatic is cool. Fnatic is fun. Gambit, same. Everybody here is cool. No matter how vehemently you disagree with me, I know that you don't mean it personally, or maybe you do, but I really don't care. So yeah, thank you for having me, and I would like you guys to follow me on Instagram and my girlfriend. My girlfriend, so she couldn't make for the outro, but she said follow her on Instagram. Thank you.
Yeah, hit them both up. Shout out to Jade. We're very happy that she was here. Hopefully we can get her back again soon, right? Hopefully she'll be swinging. After a few, she'll be swinging like her man Hateem. All right. But we are very kind. We're always looking for new individuals, especially a woman. So if you're a woman who wants to be a part of this, please jump on in. All right. GSU Gambit. After a very long absence from this place, right? We have missed you so much. I have missed you. You know that because I keep hitting you up, right? Always hitting my man Gambit up because I always want him to be involved. And you didn't disappoint at all, right? You never do. So thanks so much, buddy.
Oh no, I'm happy to be here, man. It's always good to be home. I think I'm like very happy that I was here today. Because like when I started doing online stuff and I met like black people that was ultra leftist, I used to always say to myself, like, I know these niggas not like this offline. Like I knew that it was a front. And for Dream's girlfriend to expose him today, it just felt so good to my heart to know that offline these niggas don't do this. So I'm incredibly happy today, Dream. I love you. I'm happy to know that you don't believe anything that you say on these panels. So that was pretty dope. But yeah, I was happy to be here, man. It was dope. It was fun.
I might have to withdraw my face from your stream, Prime, for the damage you've caused to their relationship.
Oh my goodness. We're supposed to be building up black families. What are you doing, Prime?
He's tearing them down.
Oh, you got Fnatic calling him an idiot in front of his girl. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, what are you doing?
No, no, I'm not saying nothing.
Hey, we know you brought her on here with the express purpose of causing some division.
And he succeeded. It's really Prime. It's really Prime.
We literally had this debate before we even came on the panel, so it was nothing new.
Yeah, and you agree with everything that we said, then you came on here and just said everything that Prime would say.
Okay.
Yeah, she disagreed with me, and that's okay. It's okay to have disagreements.
All right, next we have my man, Mr. Fnatic. Mr. Fnatic, right? He's always bringing it, right? So I appreciate him, right? No matter what, right? No matter the mistakes, the big mistakes he makes in public, right? Notably disagreeing with me, I still appreciate it. Despite all that, we can find our love, all right? So, Fnatic, please.
Listen, I'm gonna keep it 100% real. I'm the nigga on here with the best takes. That's just what it is, okay? And I think what's really funny is that like when we're in this panel, we get to have fun and like talk a bunch of trash. But at the end of the day, like I hope that we're all like we do genuinely believe in like we all have some ideas that we're actually pushing forward. Like mine, I really do push forward like the idea of reparations and helping white people to come to understand like the damages of systemic oppression, so that they can get behind these reparations that foundational Black Americans, ADOS, whatever term you want to use, actually need. And I'm finding that a lot of people are really diametrically opposed to it in ways that I just did not recognize, and it's kind of absurd. So recently, Prime, I actually used a moment. There was, if you remember this, it was probably over a year ago. There was that white dude. He came onto the channel and he was like debating with everybody about the existence of systemic oppression, and all you guys were struggling. And it had been like an hour and a half of like debating this guy, trying to get him to to understand like what systemic oppression was. And then someone called me into the space and said, "Hey, we really need you to come in here and talk to this nigga." And I did. And within that time period, it took me about I'm going to say 14 minutes to convince him that, yes, systemic oppression was real. And I did it. And by the time I was done, yeah, he completely changed his entire standpoint. But that was here on your platform, bro. And it was a very proud moment for me because you could see like all of the battle, all of the fights that he had originally like had in his brain, like they just all like slowly but surely got dismantled till he finally was just like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's real. I think those kind of moments are what's important. Like beyond all the drama, beyond all the hot takes and stuff, there has to be an actual goal. And my goal is to actually convince people of like the danger of systemic oppression and how it's widening the wealth gap until we actually do something to offset it. So you guys can follow me at twitch.tv/Mr. Fanatic if you want actual access to some of my real takes. You can look at my YouTube channel, Ask Fanatic, where my latest video is that specific moment with that, where you can watch it happen in real time. And Twitter, Mr. Fanatic, and all that good stuff. And you can talk to me on the walk-on panel where I'll show you like where your ideas are wrong if you need help.
Fanatic,
I just want to correct one thing that he said. I think objectively, like personally, I did the best. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Oh my god!
I won't disagree forever, but I got you.
If I may,
So he can say objectively personally, but when I said it, it's all oohs and ahs and ha ha.
Wait, you don't get it?
You were talking about objective morality, so that's a little bit different.
But it didn't connect. That's impossible. That's impossible.
Dream.
If I may say,
there, Dream.
Okay, Pace might be the funniest person on this panel.
You guys need to stop bullying the guy. Okay,
That's
Pace
not.
might be the funniest
he's
person
been through
on
a
this
rough
panel.
night. He's been through a rough night.
Builds
James,
character.
I love you, bro. I love you, bro.
Fanatic.
if I may say to you,
I have never fell out my seat crying before. Like Pace is the funniest dude on this panel, bro.
Fanatic, I was gonna say I think I remember that moment that you're referring to. I don't remember the dude's face or anything like that. But I think I might have been the one who called you in. I don't know.
You did. Yeah, you did. You had messaged me and it was like, hey, we could use you real quick. And I was like doing La La Land, and then like lo and behold, I like joined, and then like it was like whatever. It's an old white guy. He's a boomer. I think he has a name. I can't remember it right now, but
I think I know this guy.
Oh, he has a name, obviously, but
I'm something that's familiar to us, but I can't remember. I've just recently been interacting with him on Twitter, and he's been calling me racist. But at least we know that we got him on that.
Prime. I have to say that I'm encouraged by your stream tonight
because I know this guy.
Because the last time I was on, a Fanatic was on, there was no agreement between the two of us. So this time I am very encouraged that I was like, what the fuck is going on? Prime and I agree on everything. Not Prime. Fanatic and I agree on everything this
Y'all both
episode.
conservative, bro.
I am extremely encouraged that even two people who are on the opposite sides of the spectrum can agree.
Y'all on the same spectrum.
Some shit is bad. Oh no, we are absolutely not.
So
y'all both conservative, just maybe one more than the other.
Is it more perfect union? Is that the person?
No.
Oh no.
I promise
he's different from the guy that I'm thinking about at least.
Well,
I'll have to look at the video.
I don't remember.
I'll tell you right now. Give me 30 seconds, literally, because he's in my messages, and I'll tell you right now. Oh, and Joe Lewis went off on him, bro. It was so amazing. I love Joe Lewis. I love Joe Lewis. You have no idea. Oh, the More Perfect Union. That's his name.
More perfect. Okay, yeah, more perfect. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was him. Thank you, Desperado Sensei, for remembering that. I did not. Okay, all right. So we are going to continue our open welcome on panel. While members like you guys choosing at home and participate. So stick around for that. To my audience, and if you can join us, but if not, that's okay. Thanks for spending your time, your energy, your knowledge, and your passion in my community. I know they appreciate just as much as I do. Have a good one. Bye.
Prime, don't let them come on here and say, yes, we need black people shaking their ass for political office. Don't let them.
Oh my God.